This is Lions on Tap, a weekly look inside the Lions Den, presented by Coors Light, the chilled choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Highlights, interviews, and a look ahead to this week's game. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and the voice of your BC Lions, Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
Welcome to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions organization, as we come to you tonight from Hops, a Northwest pub that specializes in microbrews from the Pacific Northwest. At the foot of 8th Street in New Westminster at the SkyTrain station. If you want the exact details, it's 48 8th Street. Gentlemen, welcome to my hometown again, New Westminster.
You're going to tell the roller hockey story?
I'm going to talk. I could talk salmon bellies. I could talk New West Bruins in the the 70s, 4 consecutive Western Hockey League championships, back-to-back Memorial Cups. I could talk Man Cups, about the salmon bellies. I can tell you about Mugs and Jugs around the corner, too, if you want.
Never heard of it.
Mugs and Jugs?
Yeah.
There might have been a couple of stories coming to Mugs and Jugs.
I've heard
Chicago
of it.
tonight. But it's always special to come
Barfly, that was past your clip.
No.
Barfly was my
way
generation.
Past my time.
But, hey, speaking of the sports history quickly,
yeah.
New Westminster, I think for only a season, had a minor league baseball team in the Northwest League
New
for
Westminster
one
Frasers.
season. Yeah.
I was a bat boy for the New West Frasers for about 10 games.
Is there any photos or is there any?
No. Queens Park. And there was one player from that team that actually wound up playing in the big leagues. His name was Jeff Cox.
Wow.
Yeah, but knew it. But they had some good ball players go through that year. I want to say Rick Sutcliffe might have played for the Dodgers farm team. So there's about 3 or 4 guys that became stars.
Spokane would have been the Dodgers
bigs. Yeah, but the New West Frasers. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, the guy that ran, I did a story on this actually. The guy that ran the team, his name was Don Taylor. He got the money from his father-in-law.
Yeah.
And he started it off as a summer project, right?
Okay.
The team folded because they didn't have anybody show up for the games. I mean, they actually only got the franchise like in, April, and the season started in June. So they had no lead-up time to get season tickets. Don Taylor became a very successful Major League executive with Atlanta and Milwaukee. He was like a VP.
Well, there you go.
So general manager, I believe, as well. So little history there for you with the New West Frasers. And you know who their beat writer was for the Columbian? How about this one? Lowell Ulrich.
There. A young Lowell Ulrich.
There you go.
Yes.
New West Frasers. You know your history as well, babe.
Yeah, and they moved, I just had to look it up. They moved, Boise's where they ended up moving. So there you go.
Well, it's obviously great to be back in New Westminster. Again, like I said, my hometown, so much great history in this city, and always proud to be from New West. Special show tonight. We're going to have a New West resident join us, Keon Hatcher, the outstanding receiver of the BC Lions. We'll stop by in a couple of minutes in the next segment. But, guys, before we move along, time to look back to the victory against Calgary. In the words of Travis Green, it was not a Picasso, but the fellows found a way to get it done, particularly on the defensive side.
Yes, and the 2 defensive touchdowns in back-to-back possessions. Don't remember ever seeing that before. The Lions had scored 2 defensive TDs in a game as recently as 2022, win over Winnipeg at home that year. After the Bombers had clinched first place. But, getting back in the win column does feel good. And, the next night, the Lions get the X next to their name officially when Edmonton falls to Saskatchewan. That, to me, felt good, knowing officially that this team is in the playoffs. We knew it was gonna take a monumental collapse for it not to happen, but not sure how you guys felt. Getting that playoff spot clinched, feel a little refreshed after that.
You're relieved after it. And again, when I look at the game against Calgary, I think to myself the big thing there was the defense making plays, because we haven't seen that all season long. They had 9 interceptions heading into that game. They had 3 interceptions against the Stampeders. So that's what you need. You need those big plays on defense to shift the momentum. And I'll tell you, you want to talk about shifting momentum. Calgary stops the offense. Sean White comes out, kicks a field goal, makes it 12-8, right? Calgary scrimmages from the 40. They get 2 big plays, and they're in BC territory. I think they're the 38, and then Matthew Betts gets that interception. That was a huge play because Calgary all of a sudden had some momentum. They're feeling good, holding BC to a field goal in the red zone. And then the next thing you know, Matthew Betts has taken it to the end zone. And by the way, this mea culpa, when we were doing the game, we're watching the replay, and we're like, Matthew Betts, he's on a twist, and, he looks and he sees the quarterback, and he made a great athletic play. Don't kid yourself about it. To catch the football and to run all the way through the end zone like you're shot out of a cannon. I bumped into him after the game. I'm like, so we start talking. He goes, no, man, I got washed. He was on the other side of the line. He got washed all the way to the other side. He was just in the right place at the right time. Hey, better to be lucky than good sometimes, but it was a hell of an athletic play.
You have to adjust.
By Matthew Betts. And the offense moved the ball, but as we've seen during the course of the year, and the Lions, I got the stats from Steve Daniel yesterday, rank 8th in red zone conversions in the league. And that has to change if they want to have more success down the stretch.
Yeah, definitely. And they went 0-4 on Friday, and only 269 net yards. Usually the league average is around 350, so not an offensive fireworks kind of game for the unit, but it was very efficient, right? I think 4 balls hit the ground on Nathan Rourke, 20 of 24. One was a bad drop.
Season high completion percentage.
Yeah, so very efficient, took care of the football, and like we've just been talking about here, you see how important it can be to take care of the football because Calgary doesn't, and it's a massive swing in the game. One other note too, the TJ Lee forced fumble, I guess recovery is what we're calling it. Shout out to the refs for letting that one play, because I remember my first thought was, why did they let that count? That was an incomplete pass. He clearly threw it. I didn't even consider.
You should listen to the play-by-play.
I should have had Moj.
Because the guy that had to do in the play-by-play knew it was a lateral. It was actually right in front of us. So I'm looking at this and going, it's a lateral, right? And I just treated it like a lateral. But what the CFL's done this year, and this is one of the good things they've done, and don't get me going on the command center because that's another issue in itself. But what they've done is they've allowed the referees to go out there and just let the play go rather than going with a quick whistle, right? Because once you do a quick whistle, say it was a quick whistle on the TJ Lee thing, right? Well, now it's, an incomplete pass. If they go to review, they're taking a touchdown away from the BC Lions. So they've been instructed by the head office or whatever, Ambrosia, I don't know who's giving them their instructions, but to let the play go through, and then we'll deal with it afterwards. They'll deal with it afterwards. And on that play for the Lions, TJ Lee with a big play, and obviously it was a lateral, and the next thing you know, it's 6 points.
And to me, in real time, I thought it looked like it was backwards, and it was. And I think it was Nathan Rourke was making the point at one point. Even if it's going parallel, it's considered a backwards pass.
It has to be forward.
And that's the type of thing, on review, it's called a turnover on the field. You need a heck of a lot of evidence to overturn that thing.
Well, when you're looking at it, too, if you look at it, he's thrown the ball down the line of scrimmage, and the receiver's actually like 2 yards back.
Yeah.
So even if the receiver moves up to catch the ball, he's even rather than ahead. So anyway, it is what it is, and the Lions wound up getting 6 points. And by the way, speaking of Nathan Rourke, congratulations to Nathan for being named the Pro Football Focus Player of the Week. Now, I'm going to say this one time.
They call it the honor roll, yes.
The honor roll, whatever. And I'm sure Nathan would agree with me 100%, right? If you're going to give out these awards, for them to go grade players, they don't know. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care who kind of sits there and grades and says, oh, he should have done this, he should have. Nobody knows. The only people that know if you're in the damn meeting room, and I know this from my experience because there's a lot of times where I think something's going on, you talk to a coach or a player and they go, no, it's actually something different, right? So the fact that these pro football, and they're fun, I know the fans like them, but he got an 82 grade. Go ask Nathan Rourke if he thinks he should be the Pro Football Focus Player of the Week when they didn't even reach the end zone. Come on.
I think
it's fun, but it's not legit.
I think there's some value to it. Nick alluded to it. He's 20 of 24. That has to play a big role.
It plays into it. Of course it does. Okay, but let me throw this to you guys. And I'm not going to be and again, I don't know, right? Maybe Keon Hatcher, our guest, would know because he sits in the meeting rooms. He would know. But the point that I'll make is he might check down and hit the back out of the backfield. Meanwhile, he's missing the receiver who's open on a streak or a guy doing a skinny post or whatever.
Good point, yeah.
Right? So, okay, he got a completion for 6 yards, but guess what? He could have had a post for like 25, right? So, again, great numbers, nice, fodder for discussion, but when it's all said and done, you do not know unless you're in the room.
I fully agree with you, Moj, on that. I actually use PFF almost every day, but you'll never hear me saying the grades because like you said, you don't know. What I do like PFF for is there's Jonah Tavai had 4 pressures, and that's a pretty easy stat to track. They track that. They show you all 24. They show you play diagrams. So I like looking at that kind of stuff and all of that. But with the grades, I'm not into it.
There was a week where Mackey got the top special team honor, and I kind of looked. I think he had 1 tackle, and I think they're factoring in kick coverage and all these other elements that the average person doesn't always see. But I miss the old way. Remember, there was 3 top players of the week. They used to do it offense, defense, special teams. But
you throw for 327 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Adapt.
Guess what?
It's about adapting.
There you go.
Well, I even know for Mackey, like they have like a personal protector category, and that's what Mackey is, right? I think that was an under aspect when him and Royer go down.
By the way, quickly,
another aspect.
People talking about things they're not around the team, not in it. That seems to be a thing lately too, but that's another story for another day.
I'm going to say one thing about Mackey, and I'm glad you brought up his name.
Yeah.
People don't realize the importance of 2 guys, David Mackey, the fullback, and Javon Catoy, the wide out, but he's more like a tight end on a lot of occasions the way he lines up. And Nathan Rourke agreed with us during the postgame because you look at their numbers and they're not crazy off the chart numbers. Mackey, okay, you can talk about his rushing touchdowns on short yardage, but those 2 players have such a diverse skill set, and they can play up and down the line of scrimmage. They can line up. Catoy can line up outside. He can come down and be a tight end and block. He can block on those hitch screens. Same thing with Mackey. When you take those 2 players out of your lineup, and now you have to put in one-dimensional players to fulfill those roles. So if you're going to run the ball, guess what? Mackey would stay in the game. If you're going to pass the ball, Mackey would stay in the game. But now if you got to run the ball, now you got to bring in Pearson, right?
Yeah.
An offensive lineman. And now you're going to pass the ball. This package, well, Mackey, we don't have Mackey. We got to go with Poisson, right? So the point being made is the fact that your personnel packages are now tells in terms of what you might be doing in terms of your offensive scheme.
Well, you want a good PFF stat here? I'll bring up to you. William Stanback at 12 yards before contact on Friday. And I think that has a large role with Catoy and Mackey being out of the game, right? You saw Stanback get hit a lot in the backfield before he get going. Takes one missed assignment on a run play to blow it up, and I think we saw that. That's why Will didn't have necessarily his strongest game there, but it necessarily wasn't his fault, right? And that's a PFF stat you can look up to prove it.
There you go. All right, again, we're coming to you from Hops Northwest Pub, a pub that specializes in microbrews from the Pacific Northwest at the foot of 8th Street in New Westminster. In the next segment, we'll talk a little Lions football with their outstanding receiver, Keon Hatcher. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
Now, back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
This is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW, coming to you tonight from New Westminster, my hometown. Love it. Hops, the Northwest Pub, right at the foot of 8th Street, located at the 8th Street SkyTrain station. And as the man mentioned, it's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions social media content team. And we are now privileged to have Keon Hatcher stop by and join us. Keon Hatcher, outstanding receiver with the Lions. Keon, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah? You nervous?
No, not really.
Yeah, right?
I'm good. I'm around my guys, so I'm good.
He's one of the most interviewed guys on the team.
I don't know why he'd be nervous.
No nervous. Yeah.
We were talking about a whole bunch of stuff with you kind of sitting off to the side, but I'd love to get your take. Let's start off first with the game against Calgary. Just your thoughts on it from your perspective.
Got to get the ball in the end zone, man. Can't have the defense outscoring you, but they played a great game. They came and helped us when we needed it. And yeah, but as an offense, man, we got to get the ball in the end zone. We got to put up points if we want to, continue this season and try to go far in these playoffs. We got to put up points.
Is there anything you can put your finger on in terms of the red zone inefficiency?
Making the plays. Just got to make the plays. If you go back and look at the film, it's always just like one thing, one person, one wrong step, just one thing during the play that happens that just mess up the play.
Take the fan, the average fan who might not know inside, so to speak. When you're reviewing the game the next day, like you did on Saturday, obviously you went over it, but when you really kick off the week of preparation with Jordan and Tucker and everybody, how much of it is an emphasis on that situation of the red zone? Is that a big theme when you start the practice week for real, Keon?
Yes, it's always a big theme. I feel like after every game, we come in, we list the good, the bad, and usually like the red zone efficiency or whatever we were for that game is in there, and then on day 3, during practice, that's usually our emphasized red zone day. So we usually, 2 days before the game, really lock in on that, try to hone in on that. And, during practice and, day 3, we usually have really good days. I don't know, man. We just got to get it to click.
Are you surprised by that? And I say that because obviously you played college football, big-time college football, SEC, Arkansas. You played, the NFL. Because in the American game, you get down to the goal line, the field all of a sudden becomes a hell of a lot smaller. You only got a 10-yard end zone, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas in the Canadian game, you have a much larger end zone, 25 yards. So it's like there's way more space in the Canadian game. So I don't know how much that would impact your red zone efficiency, your offense, because the fact you still have that space, right?
Yeah. Like I said, with the space or without it, you got to make the play. Within your area, you have to make the play. And that just goes on 1/12, every guy doing their job and executing the play.
When it comes to Keon, how are you feeling right now? I feel like we haven't publicly talked about this lately because you're obviously 9 games into your stretch returning from your Achilles injury. You put up a season high last week with 97 yards, but how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. Just happy, blessed to be back playing football. Glad to be back out there fighting with my teammates. And I'm good, man. I'm good.
Do you have a different sense of appreciation? Because most athletes that I've talked to over the years, that they get something taken away from them, whether it's an injury, whatever the case may be, time away from the game. When you come back, you're like, damn, I missed this, because you don't realize you missed something until it's gone, and it was gone a long time for you, right?
Oh, yes, sir, for sure. I was just talking about that earlier today with my wife, and it's just like, a few months ago, I wasn't able to walk. She had to help me bathe and things like that. But being back here out on the football field is just thankful, man. It was a long stretch, where I had to sit down, but we're back on our feet. We back getting to it, and just thankful to be able to play ball again.
And of course, we're talking about the Achilles injury suffered in last year's Western final in Winnipeg. Was there ever a time when you were rehabbing? And for people that don't know, this is the thing that, I think really has to be emphasized. A lot of times when you're rehabbing, you're away from your teammates, you're with your, physio guy, whatever, it's early in the morning. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that, a lot of solitude. Was there ever any time where you kind of said, okay, man, I've done enough. I'm like, No?
Never even.
What kept you going?
Mind. I had to get back. Man. I can't end my career like that. And then my son was on the way. I got a newborn son, 10 weeks old, Keon Jr. And he got to see me play. I can't give up like that.
How much of an inspiration was TJ? Because TJ Lee suffered an Achilles injury in the same game, and you guys are going through the same rehab process. So obviously a good sounding board and somebody to lean on during the whole process.
Most definitely, TJ, huge inspiration, great guy, great leader, great man. This wasn't his first time doing his Achilles. I believe he did his other one, like his second or third
2016
year.
2016 in Regina.
In the league. And, so just talking to him throughout the process, him, letting me know what he's doing, what I'm doing, just gauging each other off, where we're at on the recovery. And, he was a big help for sure.
When you consider the situation of that injury, it was yourself and TJ moments apart, right? The stakes being what they were in Winnipeg, trip to the Grey Cup on the line. How much did that just add to how crazy that whole situation was?
It felt surreal. It did not feel real at all. I don't even know. Like it happened so fast.
It was like a blur, wasn't it?
It was a blur because even like during it, the game's still going on. Then we come back out, and it's like I don't even remember the game at all. Like I don't remember no parts of the game. Besides Justin's halftime catch, that's the only thing I remember. Yeah, but besides that, I don't remember anything.
So Keon, you mentioned that you have a 10-month or 10-week-old kid. You returned 9 weeks ago. Obviously, that's because that week too, you also had a baby on the way. So go back to the week that you returned and just all the madness. Like, how much sleep did you get that week?
A little bit. I would say a little bit, but that's about it. A little bit. But man, I was just super excited to get back on the field. Didn't really matter how much sleep I got. I was excited to get back out there with my boys and, try to put on and just make some plays for the city, make some plays for my team.
With Keon Hatcher Sr. too. I guess when did you decide that you wanted to put that actually on your jersey now too? And that wasn't even a sure thing, so I imagine you had to work with Aaron Young and all that. So
yeah, I had actually told them about it, like when me and my wife finally decided on the name. I had brought it up to him, and then he surprised me with it when it was almost time for me to get back. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
The TJ Lee touchdown, when he scores on that botched lateral, I mean, there's got to be a part of you that felt pretty good for TJ, considering the fact you knew exactly how much hard work he put in to get back.
After the game in the meeting, when I seen him when we walked in the meetings that morning, I just looked at him, saluted him, gave him a big hug, because I just know, you know what I'm saying? I know it felt so good. I know it felt so good just going through what we went through and coming out, being able to ball, make those plays for the team, get us that win. I know it felt amazing, and I was super happy for him for sure.
By the way, I've noticed this in the stat package the last few weeks. You haven't got a touchdown yet. I'm not going to get into too deep on that, but I mean, the fact that TJ's one up on you, you got to clutch up here in the next game.
He's one up. Betts is one up.
Betts.
Tebow.
Yeah. Tebow.
Yeah. I definitely need to get in the box.
Yeah,
man.
you'll get one. I think we'll have a special call for that too once you get in the
It's
end
coming.
zone.
I need that. Yeah. I need that.
Let's talk a little bit about this week coming up, and you've got a very tough Saskatchewan team in Regina, probably one of the more hostile environments in the league. What are some of the things you guys are focusing on this week in practice?
Ourselves, executing, doing our job, being in the right spot, just really executing and focusing on yourself. And I feel like if we do that, every man takes care of that 112. We'll be good.
Do you know what's interesting? We had AC Lee on last week, linebacker, and he talked about doing the little things, the details, right? And I think, people hear that all the time. It's the little things. Little things will add up to big things, right? And I used an example of a few years back when the Lions were playing in Toronto. Travis Hulay got the snap. Giovanni Lafoy gets beat. Doesn't even get out of his stance. Guy comes in. Travis hurries the throw, pick six the other way, ball game, right? And they were at the Toronto 20, and we had Walliguano on after the game. So, Javon got beat early, and, he goes, hey, it wasn't on Javon. Ball was snapped 1 count early. Mm-hmm. Little detail, right? Little thing.
Yeah.
Ball snapped 1 count early. Tackle doesn't get out of his stance. Guy rushes the quarterback, hurry throw, boom, touchdown the other way. But I think the bigger thing when you talk about those little things adding up to big things and focusing on the little things and the details, it's about habits. Right? It's about practicing and doing the right things, whether you're running an out and you're not the receiver and you got to take a guy with you, whether it's blocking on a hitch screen. But those habits you have to develop and practice, and then they translate to games.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Habits are a big part of it. Each and every day. It's what you do that's going to come out on game day. And like you said, gotta get those habits better. Focus in on ourselves and just handle business, man. Go out there and handle business.
Talking about the focus on practice, have to ask, have you dried out yet? That was a wet one out there.
It was definitely a wet one today. It was raining pretty hard, but we had a good practice today, good execution, and I was happy about practice today.
Yeah, I was going to say, despite all that, guys seemed upbeat, turning the page. That's the mindset you have to have, no matter if you win or lose. This assignment coming up is obviously the next most important.
Definitely the next most important. It's a big game, man. We're fighting for that first round home playoff.
What's your favorite road stadium? Play a game in. And did you ever play in the old Taylor Field, the old Saskatchewan Stadium?
No,
you never played Missouri. You would have loved that place. Fans are 10 feet away from the
right
bench.
On top of you.
It was tremendous.
Yeah. Away stadium, though, I would probably say either Sask or Winnipeg. It's just the crowd, the energy.
Yeah.
The energy is really live, and I feel like that's what you play for. Games like this, it's going to be a hectic environment, and I feel like we're going to go do what we need to do.
All right, we'll take a quick break. On the other side, more with the Lions receiver Keon Hatcher. We're coming to you tonight from Hops, the Northwest Pub at the foot of 8th Street in New West. 48 8th Street to be exact, of course, in the Royal City. A great place to come in, and Elise and her crew will take after you. And a big shout-out to Elise for looking after us tonight. On the other side, we'll talk to Keon Hatcher about his journey in the game of football, all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma to the University of Arkansas in the SEC. The NFL with the Raiders and the Packers, and then to the Lions. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
Now, back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. You heard the man. It's the Moj. Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski coming to you tonight from Hops, the Northwest Pub in New Westminster at the foot of 8th Street, SkyTrain Station here in New West, and always a treat to be back in New Westminster. Our guest tonight is Lions receiver Keon Hatcher. Keon, every show that we have every Tuesday night, we talk a little football, and then we talk about the player's journey in the game and how he wound up becoming a BC Lion. Let's start with you, born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tell us about young Hatch, as your Instagram page still reads, and even though you're 30, I'm questioning that. But
I can't change it. They won't let me. I think
you lose your check mark.
You're gonna get locked out. You're gonna get locked out and everything.
You lose the check mark.
So tell us about young Hatch growing up. When did you first start playing football? What do you remember? Did you have siblings, influences, all that stuff?
So my first year playing football, sixth grade, middle school. I was a basketball player before that.
Okay.
I thought I was going to the NBA. I thought I was a little Allen Iverson. But no, sixth grade, started playing football. Actually moved to Owasso, and started going to school there, and just started playing. All my friends play football, so all my friends around the school play football, and started then, man. Fell in love with the game. Started off at running back, pretty fast, faster than everybody back then. So, yeah, started in sixth grade and just fell in love with the game.
Anybody influence you? You idolize anyone?
Probably older guys around the neighborhood in the school. Aaron Colvin, he's like a big bro to me. He played in the league for a few years, went to OU. So probably my friends for real.
When did you realize that you could do something special with football?
In between, my sophomore year. So
high between school. Grade 9 and grade 10?
More
grade 10, 11?
More grade 10 to 11. Yeah, in my sophomore year, but I took it my training, my workouts, I took it to the next level in between my sophomore and junior year. And
then you get recruited by Arkansas. Who else was in on you?
Man, I was a 4-star recruit with 2 offers.
Oh, wow.
Yep, Oklahoma State and Arkansas, and they both were top 5 at the time.
And you played in some big games, though. You're someone I always use as an example that when people say, oh, the talent in the CFL is whatever, I'm like, dude, this guy had 2 touchdowns against the Alabama Crimson Tide, where a game where Jalen Hurts, Damian Harris, Calvin Ridley all scored. You had 2 touchdowns in that game, right? So you were a big playmaker in college, and I think that was your senior year when it really started to pop off, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was my senior year. Arkansas was good to me. Started playing as a true freshman. I got hurt my senior year. I broke my foot after the second or the third game, and I was leading the SEC in receiving yards, touchdowns, catches. I was prominent for a breakout year, and I broke my 5th metatarsal and got a redshirt year.
We'll talk about that when we start talking about the pros and the draft. But you're at Arkansas. Drake Greenlaw, the 49ers, currently with the 49ers, linebackers there. Brandon Allen, backup quarterback last year, is there. And we go to the Super Bowl last year, and we talked to those guys about you because we're doing Canadian twist, and we're talking to them. Drake Greenlaw, you got big-time street cred because he said you lifted with the linebackers. That's what he told us.
Yeah.
He goes, and he loved you, and he was talking about, the fact that he'd heard that you had hurt your Achilles in the game against Winnipeg, I guess on social media or whatever. But you're watching the Super Bowl, you got your old college teammate Drake Greenlaw, and you see him go down on the sidelines. He tears his Achilles. You got to be thinking to yourself, dude, this is too surreal.
I couldn't believe it. And you want me to be like completely honest?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if like the energy just like
drifted over.
Just I don't know. You bringing up my name, speaking about me. You know, y'all talking about. I don't know. But just for that to happen in his biggest game of his life. It's just crazy.
Huh.
It's so crazy.
Right.
But he's doing really well. His rehab has been going good. He's back running and stuff like that. So I think, we'll be seeing Dre again pretty soon.
You talk about, hurting your foot in your senior year. You got a breakout year. Clearly, it impacts your draft status. You go from being a guy who probably would have been drafted to an undrafted free agent. How tough? And for people that, we've seen Nathan go through it, we've seen Matthew Betts go through it. I don't want to use the term just a guy, but Nathan used it, right? But I mean, when you're a guy who's in camp and you're not a draft pick, talk about that mountain you got to climb and being Superman.
You definitely got to climb a mountain, and you definitely got to be close to Superman. As a undrafted free agent rookie, you have very minimal mistakes. It's almost like, as a rookie, you have to be a veteran already. Like, you don't have the time to develop anything for real. It's just like you either got it or you don't. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, we'll see you later. You know what I'm saying? And even if you do got it, we'll probably see you later. You know what I'm saying? So it's very minimum of mistakes of any kind for real if you're not one of their picks or guys.
The picks got a lot longer leash, a lot more rope to play with, don't they?
For sure. It's not even close. Like as a rookie, you have to be a veteran mentally to be able to make the team.
People might be asking why though, Keon. So is it just the money because the investment they have in those players?
Yeah. I would say so. It's the only thing I could really think of, because if you're going off of someone's play, undrafted free agent, he's playing better, but you paid this guy, so you're probably gonna go with the guy that you paid a little bit more.
First off, tell Dre to get healthy, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
The Niners need him. That's all I'm going to say. But sticking with the NFL theme, you make the Raiders out of 2018 training camp, I believe it is. You're playing Week 1 on Monday Night Football, right? I think it was at the Oakland Coliseum against the LA Rams. Describe that, just being there, bright lights, prime time. Everyone knows how special those Monday games are.
It was awesome. Just the experience, man. Being there Monday Night Football. You're a young guy, and just seeing it all, taking it in. You got these Oakland Raider fans who are going crazy. When I say crazy, like insane. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's Monday Night Football, like you said. So it was a great night, great atmosphere. Just thankful to be able to experience it.
I'll one-up you, Baker, because Keon, you also played as a member of the Raiders in Winnipeg against the Green Bay Packers with James Butler.
We've talked about this on First and Now. That's right.
Yeah. And
that was the year after.
They made us play a 80-yard field because of the pot of the goal post, I believe, like the hole that's in the end zone or something. They made us play on like a shrunken field. Yeah.
I think Aaron Rodgers didn't play because of that. But you and JB balled out in that game. I was watching the highlights.
I had a couple catches. Yep. It was nice.
Keon Hatcher is our guest, Lions receiver, as we're coming to tonight from New Westminster, a treat being at Hops, a Northwest pub, just at the foot of 8th Street in New West. Okay, now you go through this whole NFL odyssey, and when I talk about odyssey, I'm not joking. I'll just rip through it real quick. Raiders, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, back to the Raiders, back to the Packers, then the Jets. I mean, did you just feel like you're on a carousel and you could never get that opportunity that you wanted?
You know, so let's take it back to 2018. 2018, like you said, I made the roster. Had a great game. The last preseason game had like 8 for 130, 3 touchdowns against Seattle. In my mind, I made it. Like, I remember Victor Cruz did that back in the day. Had like 3 touchdowns in one game. So I'm like, okay, how can you not make it? You know, you've done everything that you could possibly do to make the team. So I made the team. Cool. So after that Monday night game, which the next day was my birthday, I got called and released.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, appreciate it. So I got called and released then. I guess Martavis Bryant, he was pending a suspension for like testing or whatever. And if they signed him to the roster after the first, they would have had to guarantee his money throughout the season. So they just let him go and then signed him after the first game and let me go. But then I went to Green Bay. Green Bay was awesome. Mike McCarthy.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the head coach then. Loved Green Bay, loved every bit of it. Was there for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then Oakland calls back. And they're like, hey, you know, you're active. You're going to play. You know what I'm saying? Just feeding me good. You know what I mean? And my agent's like, yeah, well, you go back, you'll get a credited season. You know, all this stuff towards the pension, all that. But Green Bay was like, we'll keep you on P squad, but we'll pay you active. You know? And in my head, I'm like, I want to play. So we go back to Oakland, and then I didn't even get to play. Fast forward to 2019, go through camp, they release me. Go back to Green Bay with LaFleur. I was there for a good 8 to 10 weeks, and then it just didn't work out.
Ask you, what's it like living in Green Bay? Because it's the smallest NFL market, as everyone knows. I've been there twice. I've been lucky, fortunate to go there. And like you're driving along, you don't see anything. All of a sudden, you see the stadium. Right? There's no other buildings. There's no skyline. Like the tallest building in the city is probably like 3 stories.
No, exactly.
What was it like to live in Green Bay that time?
I loved Green Bay. Yeah, it was super cold though. It was super cold. Yeah, it was super cold.
Doesn't make the rain seem that bad, does it?
Nah, I'll take the cold over the rain.
Yeah.
I'll take the cold over the rain. But I loved Green Bay. It was awesome. City was nice. Very quiet, very chill. Football.
Yeah.
Football.
Kind of like Saskatchewan, Green Bay. People always draw that, comparison, right? Like a regional team, a lot of history, all that. Yep. Okay, the Lions. How do you wind up in BC? What did you know about the CFL, and how'd you wind up here?
I knew about the CFL a little bit. I knew about Manny Arsenault. I knew Byrne. He went to TU.
Brian Burnham.
So I knew Byrne. Didn't know much about it, but I had got the call in 2021, early 2021, and there weren't any workouts coming in, nothing like that. So decided to give it a try.
We all remember what that 2021 camp was like with the quarantine and the restrictions. Just the way everyone kind of handled that and got down to business. And a lot of those core players are still here. I think that says a lot about what continuity has done. Just your memories and your thoughts of how everyone just kind of put their head down and went to work.
Yeah. We had the COVID going on. I believe the smoke fires were going on. It
Big
was super
time.
bad. I think we didn't practice a few times.
Yeah, shut down camp early. Yeah,
the
day and a half
so
early,
bad.
I think. Yeah.
But during the time, man, everybody was working. It was fun. It was nice. I believe that was Nate's rookie year.
That was
Mike Riley was still here. So really happy that I took that step and came out here, man. I fell in love with it.
All right, we've run out of time, but before we get out of here, I got one thing. I didn't even bring this up. Dane Evans, last year's quarterback with the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
He's coaching your old high school.
Yeah,
Also.
he's the quarterback coach at my high school.
Yeah, you guys keep in touch?
Yeah, most definitely we do. They're 5-0 right now. I think they're like the number 1 team in the state. They beat the number 10 team in the country, so they're doing pretty good right now.
There you go. Dane's getting the job done. It's great to see him have some success. Well, Keon, this weekend, open it up, baby. Like, get into that end zone. I got something special planned for the call, so just saying, you get in there, we'll have a little fun with it.
I got you. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get that on tape.
We'll all be there. We're all watching.
Well, Keon, thanks so much for stopping by tonight and sharing your journey in the game of football. And, again, good luck this weekend in Saskatchewan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Keon Hatcher of the BC Lions, our guest tonight at Hops and Northwest Pub, a pub that speculates in microbrews from the Pacific Northwest, located at the 8th Street SkyTrain station in New Westminster. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
This is Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light, the chill choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Now it's time for Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia.
Yes, indeed. Nicholas Kowalski, a.k.a. Tonto. He's got his world-famous trivia coming up right now. That's his nickname. I don't know why. I don't know where they got
Baker
that from,
loves
but
it. Don't look it up.
nickname.
Don't be looking it up.
Yeah, that's his nickname.
Let's
You're not
get into
wrong.
it.
Yeah.
What do you got tonight?
That cracked me up too. That was unexpected. We're on some milestone watch. So Sean White, he's always hitting milestones, right? He hit 500 field goals earlier this year, but another one he's about to hit is with 20 more points, which is 7 field goals or 6 field goals and 2 converts, however you want to do the math. With 20 more points, he will become the 10th highest scorer in CFL history. So now I could just ask you who the 10 highest scoring players are, but that'd be pretty easy, right? So
No, it'd be difficult.
Well, we're going to take it a step further.
Louis, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he still...
Dave Ridgway.
He still applies here.
Yeah.
Louis
Sorry,
McCallum.
Here's the question I came up with. It's all scoring related too, so same kind of avenue here. But 18 players who have played a game for the BC Lions have scored 500 points. So just to clarify here, so there's no...
all point. Doesn't matter how they score.
Yeah, as long as they've put on a BC Lions jersey... It just that's like they can get the other 400 points for Winnipeg, for example, but the 500 counts.
Oh,
So it's not just with the Lions.
Yes,
okay.
not in their
that
CFL
messes
careers.
everything up.
18? Wow, okay. We
18
only got
players.
a few minutes here.
Damon Allen?
Damon Allen is correct.
We
So
said Louis and Paul McCallum already, right?
Damon Allen's a good bar. So Damon Allen scored 568. You can obviously
Louis Pasaglia, Paul McCallum,
Dave Dickinson.
Sean White.
Dave Dickinson is incorrect.
How about Jim Young?
Jim Young is incorrect. You got a lot of kickers here, obviously. Just
500 points?
Yeah, based on the nature.
Paulus Ballison.
Paulus Baldwin is
That's
number
good.
Thank
4 all time. The top 4 actually ever are all played for the Lions. So you're missing one. You're missing the third answer because McCallum and Pasaglia are 1 and 2. By the way, Sean White is halfway there to Louis Pasaglia. It's 3,000.
Another one of the top 4 played for the Lions, you're saying?
Well, they all played for the Lions. But
At one point.
The top 4 in CFL history all played for the Lions is what I'm saying.
Okay.
There's a couple guys who are
Dave
still...
Cutler.
Dave Cutler.
Did he ever play for the Lions? I know he tried out for the Lions. He got cut, I think.
He's not on this list. Sorry.
No.
So there's a couple of running backs. There's actually like 5 running backs on this list.
Corey
backs.
Philpott?
Corey Philpott.
Charles Roberts?
Charles Roberts is a correct
Okay,
answer.
wow.
Charles Roberts has 504 career points.
Played half a season here, yeah. Good
Still
call.
counts. There we go. We got a couple other running backs, though, on this list. A couple other
Larry
receivers.
Key?
Larry Key is incorrect.
No.
Andrew Harris.
Andrew Harris is correct.
Yeah.
502 for Andrew Harris.
502 just by a hair.
You,
So
think
we
that,
had
you think that was intentional? You think they're thinking about that? 500 points in their career. So you got 2 receivers here.
Jim Young's not in there?
No.
G-Roy Simon.
G-Roy Simon is the correct
G-Roy.
answer.
Mervin
Joe.
Fernandez.
Incorrect.
David Williams.
David Williams is correct.
Okay.
He's at 5. Oh, no, he just missed. He's 488. Adam has the next
You
up.
said he was in. You can't go back
I
and
wrote him
forth.
down.
Come on. This
strike
whole thing's
for
rigged.
Kowalski.
Exactly.
How about this receiver? He played a big role in 2011. He hit 500.
Big role in Arlan Bruce III.
Arlan Bruce III is a
Nicely
correct
done,
answer. 500.
Any more receivers?
That's your wheelhouse.
Not that I know of. I think we just got a bunch of kickers. We still have a running back left. We have 2 running backs left.
Both BC Lions mainly or with other teams?
You'll know them as BC Lions.
Jim Young.
Incorrect.
No, wow.
Evanston?
No, we're going old school, and we're going
Sean Millington.
Sean Millington.
Yeah.
There you
Sean
go.
Millington, nicely done, Bakes.
522. The other,
Millington's not old school. Old school's 70s.
That's like our era. That's my
Your
era.
old school.
because Sean Millington is not the old school. You got to think of the other old school running back.
Even older than Millington?
Decades.
Decades older than Millington.
We're talking an OG BC Lion. He scored one more
Tom
point.
Brown.
Nope.
By Bailey.
By Bailey. Larry Key.
Little older than By Bailey. I mean, a little younger, sorry, than By
Norm
Bailey.
Fieldgate.
Norm. No, he
Come
played a
on.
bunch of positions.
He's a Wall of Fame, iconic Lions member.
Yeah, we're gonna kick ourselves. And he's a running back.
Yep. Well, I think he played a little slot, too. Played a little bit of everything. Back in those days.
Give us initials.
WF.
Willie Fleming.
Oh my
Willie
God!
Fleming?
I told
Really?
you we're gonna kick ourselves.
Willie Fleming.
You know why I
scored
didn't think Willie Fleming? Because
523.
Willie Fleming
Long,
just had a
not
short,
long,
yeah,
not long enough.
I
he
didn't
thought.
think Willie
yeah.
Fleming would be a guy.
So what? We're missing a couple more kickers in the top
Yeah,
four.
there's an active kicker on this list, actually. Neil McAvoy talks about him a lot.
give us
wow.
initials.
Well, that's a good
No
one.
initials.
No, we're
yet.
running short on time. It's 3:30. Give us initials.
SC.
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 Active kicker.
Sergio
Castillo.
Castillo.
Wow.
Sergio.
Hatch.
See, we should have had
Hatch out of the
Hatch suit
cheap
up.
seats. Hatch out of the cheap seats.
And there's one more kicker, right?
A lot more. Mark. I'll just
Mark McLaughlin was here in 05.
He is number 3 all time, almost 3,000
Yeah.
points.
Oh.
Played forever.
And then he got Bernie. I'm not my
Bernie Ruoff.
Bernie Ruoff.
There
you go.
How many more do we have here?
A couple more down
Winnipeg
here.
Blue Bombers.
What
Give us
eras we
initials.
talking here, Nick?
Give us some initials.
I don't know. I admittedly don't know a ton of these names. So MK is one.
MK.
This is the kicker.
MK.
Kicker.
Let me find up the information.
Matt Kellett.
Matt Kellett. There you go.
Yes.
Baker.
Matt Kellett had 500
Yeah.
points?
He had 799
Oh, my
points.
God.
Yeah.
You got to think kicker, so you got
Man,
to
Matt Kellett wasn't even here
Yeah.
that long. It seemed like a blur.
Two or 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, it
You
seemed
got
like 2 years.
another kicker. TG are the initials.
TG.
Ted Gavaya? No.
Ted Girella.
Ted Girella. Yeah.
Ted
yes.
Girella.
There you go.
Ted Gavaya.
That's the Winnipeg.
That was good.
And then you got one more player. I got to Google this player too. It's JP as the initials.
JP.
Jackie Parker.
Jackie Parker
Nice.
is correct.
See, that's what happens when you're young.
there's one
I gotta
more.
Google JP, Jackie Parker, all-time
He's
legend.
That's what I'm saying. I'm learning my
Okay.
history here.
One more initials.
No, we're gonna take it. Peter Kemp.
Oh,
we
okay.
never got it.
There
Wouldn't
you
have
go.
got it.
All right.
That's a good game.
We got 2 minutes before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Great job as usual, Kowalski.
Great job.
Lions next home game. What do we got going on?
Yes, we're planning for this to mean, well, just about everything. A win in Saskatchewan obviously means these Lions firmly in control of second. Alouettes in town, defending Grey Cup champs, our future Stars night. We salute amateur football. BC Lions backyard, 1 o'clock. They'll be face painting. You'll be right down there with Julio. Spray, tattoos, all that fun stuff. 1 o'clock, $5 Molson Coors products, of course. 4 o'clock kickoff Saturday the 19th. Hopefully a chance to lock up a third straight home playoff game. Tickets for adults start at $25, kids 17 and under, only $15. BCLions.com/Future Stars. The Upper Bowl will be open. We're expecting a massive
there you
crowd.
go. Awesome.
Massive crowd.
Great
Yes.
stuff. Upper Bowl will be open. Nick Kowalski, social media. People want to follow the Lions, X, Twitter, etc.
Yeah, and we're still pushing YouTube. We're getting to 10K there. So, and one other thing too, the all
job.
CFL voting. It's open right now. I know Sean White's number 2 for kickers. Justin McInnes is number 1 for receivers. Will Stanback's number 3 for running backs. I think you should be higher. But if you just Google all CFL voting, you can vote up to 3 times. And I believe a lucky winner is going to get $4,000 cash too. So
Cool.
get on that before the all CFL voting closes.
All right, before we get out of here, I want to invite you to our next broadcast. BC Lions are at Mosaic Stadium in Regina to take on those Rough Riders Saturday, October 12th. Kickoff at 4, pregame at 3 on CKNW 980 and the Lions Radio Network. You know what I'm going to tell you? We're out of here tonight, folks. Thanks so much. Big thank you to everybody here at Hops, the Northwest Pub. Big shout out to Lisa and the staff for hosting us. Thank you so much. Great being back in my hometown of New West. On behalf of Matt Baker,
Yeah.
Nick Kowalski, Keon Hatcher, and the one and only Hokie Thibodeau, we thank you for listening tonight. You know what I'm going to tell you? Be safe.